Today we're going to talk about 3 animal actors that probably live rent-free in the back of your mind. It might be the first time you ever cried in your life was because of them. Or if you're like me and you're close to 40, you probably cried last night watching the film. The 3 animal actors I'm talking about portrayed Shadow, Chance, and Sassy in the 1993 film Homeward Bound. Now, did you know that Chance was actually super clumsy in real life? Like, he ran into a bunch of potholes, ran into a tree, and those accidents actually made it into the film. He even smashed Jamie's face when he was jumping out of the car one time, which we'll get to a little later. Or did you know that Sassy, during her famous river scene, was actually played by a mechanical cat at some points? Learn all about this and more as we're hoofing it in Hollywood.
The birds and the beasts are on the screen. They're the ones that you have seen. You've watched them since childhood as a hoofing it in Hollywood.
Hello, I'm your host, Paul, and with me I have my co-hosts Audrey.
Hello.
Melissa.
What's up, everybody?
And Jordan.
Hello.
So this is Hoofin' It in Hollywood. The idea behind this podcast is we're going to take an animal actor, or in this case, 3 of the animal actors from a famous production, either film or TV, and we're going to review their most famous work. Then we're going to dive into the history of these animals to learn about how they became the actors or actresses you saw on screen. After that, we'll explore the stunts and the movie magic that took place. Finally, we're going to end it with some fun stuff. So without delaying any further, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jordan to talk about the film Homeward Bound.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, fill facts. What movie is this again?
Come on, Jordan, come on.
Homeward Bound. Okay. All right. Homeward Bound came out in 1993 alongside such blockbusters like Hocus Pocus, Dennis the Menace, Rookie of the Year. We're talking Rudy. We're talking the second Beethoven later on in another episode. So it had a lot of competition when it came out. Still managed to pull in something like $57 million worldwide for the box office. Not too shabby for a movie about dogs.
For 93, that seems pretty good. I don't know.
Generated a sequel. Disney thought it was good enough to put out Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco, that came out in 1996. The movie itself was actually based on a book and a movie based on the same book called The Incredible Journey. The book came out in 1961 by Scottish author Sheila Bumford. And the whole story is... Who's laughing at her name? Her name is Bumford. Oh, Burnford. Okay, let's try that again. The Incredible Journey was actually based on a book in 1961 by a Scottish author named Sheila Burnford. They actually made a movie of it later on in 1963. So the story of the movie is I just heard a cat.
Pangea wanted to chime in.
God damn it, Pangea. Go somewhere else.
The plot of the movie, Homeward Bound. It's 3 animals. There's an American bulldog, a Himalayan cat, and a golden retriever. They have to embark on a long trek through the rugged wilderness of the Sierra Nevada mountains in a quest to reach home and their owners. But why were their owners not around? Let's talk about what happens at the very beginning. The dad gets a temporary job in San Francisco. So they have to move for, I guess, a little bit. I feel like it wasn't very well explained in the movie, but
I thought it was forever, but...
So it seemed like he was an academic and maybe doing like a research sabbatical or something.
Yeah, like some sort of like, they said they'd come back every 2 weeks, but it was going to be an extended stay in San Francisco, but not necessarily permanent. So they left them on a ranch with a friend of the family. I think she was a college friend of the mom. And, well, turns out the lady had to go on a cattle drive. She left the dogs then with a third party, and the dogs escaped between the second and third party seeing them.
Wait, can we talk about briefly about how that happened? She wrote a note on 2 pages. The second half flew away. What the fuck did she write on that note? How did that happen?
I was wondering that same thing.
When her friend found the note, I believe he thought it said something like she was taking the animals with her on the cattle drive. So There's a big misconception, but the animals themselves had talked to each other and said that there was something wrong. There was no way that they're humans. We just leave them. So they decided to leave. So they ran away and started their incredible journey, which took them, all over the Sierra Nevada mountains. They are found by some people in the area after wanted posters are put out for them. After they're found, though, they escape again, thinking that the people that caught them are not trying to help them, but instead trying to keep them from getting back to their family. So the family, I guess, goes back to their normal house, not their San Francisco house. And the animals end up back there after maybe the most tear-jerking scene in the world, where Shadow, spoiler alert, but Shadow falls down this big pit at a construction yard, and we all think he's dying. He can't get out of the pit no matter how much he tries. So Sassy and Chance, that's exactly what his voice sounded like.
Too soon. I'm
crying right now, yeah.
You need to learn to say goodbye.
No.
Can everybody do like their best Shadow impression?
Hey, Pop. No.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a line that...
Pop, you can't do that.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Sassy, that was some good fish, I gotta say, Sassy. Wait, where's my good job, Paul? Come on, what the fuck?
Good job, Paul.
You can't just play the movie, Paul. You actually have to say something.
Yeah, you can't just play a clip straight from the movie.
The only thing you need to learn is to say goodbye.
Jesus, stop. I'm crying. Melissa, go.
I don't remember any of his lines.
Just make something up.
I don't know. I'm really bad at
You
this.
call yourself a dog?
I just remember him saying pup a million times. So he's just like, pup.
Say it in his voice. Say it in his voice.
I just did.
I didn't hear you.
I said pup. Sounds just like me.
Oh, Sassy. That's mine. So they end up leaving him behind, have a big tear-jerking reunion with the family, but then the boy looks for Shadow. Shadow doesn't come back until the end when he does, and then he comes back and they're all reunited. And that's the end of the movie. Okay, I also wanted to talk about, there was the Incredible Journey 1963 movie, which my sister and I actually watched at some point. I don't remember what we were doing or how we came across it, but we just kind of saw this movie about three animals going across the wilderness, and it intrigued us. And it's almost the exact same story. The same types of things happen. So that was me. And I'm guessing all of you saw the Homeward Bound one first. For some reason, my sister and I saw this one in the 80s. I feel like we were at my aunt and uncle's house in California for some reason. That we were just sitting there watching and just saw these cats, but I'm probably completely wrong. Cats. Why did I say cats?
When you're a child and you watch like a movie 10,000 times in a row,
Yep.
this was one of them. And I think it was the first time I ever felt fear was like from this movie. Love.
Yeah, the first time I ever felt love.
Well, yeah, no, because everyone wanted fucking Shadow, dude. Like
Your poor family.
Damn, Paul.
Well, yeah.
First time I ever loved anything was Homeward Bound.
Yeah, what you said, Paul, when I was young, I would just watch this on repeat with my brother. It was one of the many VHSs that we would just watch all the time. And so it was nice to get those feelings back, just to feel like a kid. But like you said, I feel like it taught a lot of different emotions. It made me scared. It made me sad, happy. Yeah, I used to know a bunch of words and quotes from it. Now I feel like that's all left my head because of...
You know, about to stop.
I did too. I thought she was like, I used to know a bunch of words.
Now me don't.
Yeah, I mean, the same as the rest of you. I watched it a lot as a kid and I loved it. I wanted Shadow. I was like, that's the dog for me, bitch.
When we were watching it, the part where Chance is like, now we're talking turkey, Audrey was like, holy shit, that's you. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about it.
Always used to say, talking turkey.
Still do.
What were your initial impressions about the movie?
I just remember loving it as a kid, so I don't know what the first impression was, but rewatching it, I was surprised how well it held up, other than like some unfortunate jokes related to people's sizes.
That really stuck out. The other thing that jumped out at me this time around was the construction of the film was kind of interesting because they told like these weird tiny vignettes, and the storyline is like 2 minutes long, but like that person, that role is stuck in my brain, and like that fucking little girl getting lost still makes me cry every goddamn time, and it's literally like a 2 minute long scene. Like,
I had actually forgotten about the little girl scene until last night, and I guess I don't know what my initial reaction. I don't know that I cried at that part, but I did think it was just sort of interesting how it was like your typical dog barks and people follow it. Lassie's story.
Okay, can we pause for a moment and talk about how he had the biggest Lassie complex? You know how we talk about like, oh, he had a hero complex? I feel like he had the biggest Lassie complex. Shadow was like, my boys depended on me. I gotta get them. And then he's like, I'll bark for the little girl.
A dog's responsibility is to take care of his master.
Yeah, he took it real seriously. One thing that stuck out to me, and this makes me feel like an old fart now or something, but just the grandness of it and the soundtrack.
Dude, we had the same conversation.
To where movies are not made like that nowadays. Yes, you always have music in movies, but there's just something, it doesn't feel the same.
Yep, it's either like, or it's like poppy, fun, popular music. And then Paul and I were talking about how much the score sounded like Jurassic Park. Like they're both like these 90s. And so we decided that John Williams and this guy were like workshopping their soundtracks together.
They were roommates back in college.
I wouldn't be surprised because it had that quality to it. It was just like this huge score that like helped you feel things, it had different emotions. Like
the soundtrack was very much part of the actual story itself. And actually, I agree with you, Melissa. Like, I think the grandness of it, it's a big movie, dude. Like, it was people who went into a forest with animals and shot a film. Like,
yeah, it was like The Hobbit or something.
Yeah.
It did. It felt like it was on that scale, even though I believe a lot of the things we read about it, they didn't shoot it like that big of scale, but still it had that feeling to it at the end.
I do think I saw it was filmed in Oregon. Like it was supposed to take place in Vancouver or something, but it was filmed in Oregon.
I'd read that to get to certain locations, they had donkeys and horses carry the equipment out.
Aww.
Yeah. No credit to them. This is about the 3 animals, so fuck those other ones.
So the guy that did the score, Bruce Broughton, was also famous for some like big Western scores, like the movie Silverado was a 1986 nominee for an Academy Award for Best Score. So if you can imagine that bigness, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Silverado or not. You haven't, go watch it. Just all-encompassing, huge wilderness type sounds, and learning that, I guess it makes sense to me that this movie kind of had that same feeling to it.
Along the same lines, he also scored Baby's Day Out. So when we're talking about bigness, if you haven't seen Baby's Day Out,
I'm really curious about the score for Baby's Day Out.
What if it's killer? What if it's amazing?
Maybe I'll just listen to the soundtrack for it.
So, okay, one part that really stuck out to me last night was when they were leaving the dogs. The way they got Chance away is they threw his Frisbee and he ran to get it, and then they bailed while he was going to get the Frisbee. So, like, how do you do that to an animal? I forgot. Like, no wonder he thought they were going to the pound. His kid tricked him.
Pretty brutal.
Mr. Jordan was at the end of your segment.
I got nothing else for you, Paul.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to take the lead and talk about the animal histories.
What's that? It's Creature Chronicles.
Chance, he was an American bulldog, and his real name was Suregrip Rattler. I'm just going to call him Rattler from here on out. I don't know why he was called Suregrip.
What is he gripping? Like, why is his name Suregrips?
That's what I was wondering, if it was like a sure grip on the Rattler.
Right?
So, Sassy was played by a Himalayan who her real name is Tiki. And then finally, Shadow, the golden retriever, his real name was Ben. Also, I hate that the dog's name is Ben and the kid who played Peter, real name is Benj, because it's super hard when you're searching for Ben from Homeward Bound on any information without that actor popping up.
Do you think he went by Ben as a kid, but then they were getting confused on scenes, so they started calling him Benj?
Oh, maybe.
I thought maybe he was so in love with the dog that he tried to get closer to the dog's name, like as he got
Ben
older.
Jr.?
Yeah. So moving on to the actual history of the actors, this part was a little bit more difficult. There wasn't a huge amount to find on them. But what we do know is about Tiki. She came from a breeder who kept trying to breed her. She had some complications. She was also kept in a cage a lot, which sounds gross. And so Tammy Maples ended up rescuing her about a year into her life. She's a co-founder of Jungle Exotics, which was a 60-acre ranch in San Bernardino foothills. And so that ranch is actually designed to train animals for film and television. When they got Tiki, she was in a bad state. I guess the first 4 months, she wasn't trying to hang out with anyone. She was not down to clown. But after a little while, she started to warm up to people. And then, apparently the Disney execs showed up one day and were like, we need a cat. And they're like, nah, that one.
They saw Tiki and their hearts just leapt into their butts, and they knew that they needed to have Tammy. No, they needed to have Tiki. Maybe both. I don't know. Who am I to judge?
Yeah. Maybe Tammy was a looker.
They ended up using her even though she had no prior experience in doing any type of acting. So a rags to riches story, which is cool. Ben and Rattler, I couldn't find much else on them. But I do know that the three of them worked up to 7 weeks before shooting even began. And they were largely trained by using voice commands and rewarded with treats. The animal trainer, Joe Camp, I guess he's legendary or something. He worked very closely with the animals, and the kid who played Peter in it, Benj, he just raved about how Joe Camp trained them, got them all together. Apparently the animals were friends on set. So, and then the family was friends with the animals. So it's, I think what you're seeing in the film is coming through. It's just everyone is a big cohesive family, which is awesome. One quick thing about them as being the actors. Yes, they were the main actors in most of the scenes, but Ben and Rattler were each played by 4 different dogs, and then Tiki was played by up to 10 cats, and sometimes an animatronic cat. So yeah, it sounds like the production went pretty smooth. Everyone had a really good time. Benj even went on to say that Ben, or Shadow, was his first dog.
Which I feel like you can tell that in the movie with the way that they act.
Actually, we can listen to a clip from TikTok of an interview with Benj talking about the dog. So I'll play that right now.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Well, here's Ben. This is Shadow. Yes. Got that right. He's so cute. Yeah. He's my best friend on the set, for real. No dog like him. He's one of the best dogs around.
Aw, that's so sweet.
And he actually didn't have a dog after that for a long time, I think because of the emotional hurt he felt in his soul. Another quick note I'll mention about Ben is he auditioned out of 500 dogs, apparently. I don't know why Tiki got the fast track, but Ben had to audition. So moving on beyond Homeward Bound, I didn't find much of a history of them performing in other shows, except for Tiki. She had a semi-decent career. She had a couple other minor film roles before assuming the role of Salty in the NBC sitcom Caroline in the City. What I can say is Rattler was super not in the sequel.
Which is a shame, because I will make the case during this podcast that Rattler was easily the best actor of all the dog actors.
So I'm going to disagree and say Sassy, but we'll get to that, I guess.
I guess we will.
So they used a pit bull terrier in that movie. So if you look at the snout, it's just kind of different. Moving on to if they're alive or dead, or if they're in any upcoming appearances, they're dead. It's been 30 years. It's sad. I can confirm that Rattler is dead. The other two, I guess, could be frozen in some sort of like liquid nitrogen, like Walt Disney himself, to be brought back later. But as of right now, I think we're safe to say that all three have passed. So talking about their legacy, the only one I can find information on was Rattler himself. He actually became a flammable liquid sniffing dog in working with the fire department, which is pretty wacky.
The dog is wild, actually.
I love Rattler.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That is actually pretty impressive.
He also worked in production and hog catching. And most importantly, he had a lot of puppies.
Who didn't go on to act because he knew the problems that come along with being a child actor. He saw what happened to Amanda Bynes. He saw what happened to Britney Spears. He saw what happened to all those other children. And he said, nah, my pups.
He laid some serious pipe into
What?
those other dogs. Yeah.
No.
He's got a bloodline, dude. Like Rattler bloodlines. If you check out the show notes, you can actually find a link to his family tree. That's all I have for the animal history section. Without further ado, I will pass it over to you, Audrey, to talk about movie magic.
Get ready for movie magic.
So, movie magic. I feel like there were like four main types of movie magic. One, the use of perspective to make things look bigger, taller, or longer. Many scene cuts. Stuffed, mechanical, plastic, animals, whatever. And then like all of the food. So I'm going to go through some examples of each of these because they're really interesting. So for the perspective ones, these are things like jumping over the fence. Or like when Sassy got catapulted. Part of that is they would like come down and make it look a lot taller than it actually was. And I'm really curious if they did this for Bart the bear, because the bear, which side note, Bart, famous actor, we're going to have to do a whole thing about Bart.
He gets his own show.
Hell yeah.
So Bart the bear, I'm wondering, like it looked like they filmed him kind of low, and I'm wondering if it's to make him look a little bigger.
They hobbited him. All right.
Yeah. And so that was like the perspective things that they did to make things like, you know, like falls look longer and stuff like that. And then there was cuts, many scene cuts. And I feel like the scene cuts were the thing that they used the most. And there's some really interesting ones. So like the simple ones are like they would have one animal chasing another. Really, those animals were never together. It would be like, Chance, come over here for this sweet potato or whatever the treat was. He liked whipped cream. Maybe it was whipped cream. And then the other animals would be trained to run too. One of my favorite facts about Chance, and this is one of the reasons he's the best dog actor. So like when we first saw this, I was like, he's either the best dog actor or the worst dog actor in the whole world, because they either got like just a really poorly behaved dog or a dog that was or
He must have really made an impression on you.
or a dog that was really good at acting like a bad dog, which is what Chance was. So my favorite fun fact is that he did not give two shits about the chickens in that scene where he was supposed to chase chickens. He did not care about the chickens. So they had to train him to like look this way and look that way and run this way. And like they just like used treats and commands to get him to look like he was chasing chickens. And then they like scared the chickens or something to get them to run. But I love that. I think that's adorable. So they also used cuts for falling from high areas. So not only did they use the perspective, but they would like do the jump with a fake cat or something and then drop the cat from a foot above the ground or whatever it is to make it look like she was landing. Sassy's water scene is one of the coolest examples of how they put cuts together. So they trained her to jump from rock to rock over a stream. She'd previously trained to do that in her compound. And the whole scene was filmed with many cats. And each of them were only in the water for 8 seconds apiece. Then once Sassy goes into the water, she had a harness on and it was really shallow. and she swam from one trainer to another. And there were 4 people underwater monitoring her safety. So they were like not fucking around.
That's rad.
Yeah. And then when Sassy was like swept into the water off of the rocks and everything, they used a fake cat for that part. And the close-ups of her looking scared and then going over the waterfall was a combo of a real cat, a fake cat, and a mechanical cat. And the real cat was only ever in a heated pool. So it's just really cool. And by the way, all of that information is from Humane Hollywood, which seems like a really cool organization where they document how animals were treated on set, and kind of rate movies according to how well they were treated. And then I think that movies have to work with them if they want a certain acknowledgement of animals being treated well.
But they're not willing to put paragraph breaks into their
content.
Content.
They really need someone to redesign their website.
Yeah.
Maybe I should volunteer for them. I don't know.
They did a really, really good job with especially the water scene, because I remember as a kid thinking this cat is actually in water and how in the world did they do that? Then watching it again last night, looking for all the, knowing that some of them were stuffed and some of them were mechanical, it still looked really good. It still looked like it could have been a cat swimming.
Yeah,
and
it
like
was
you said,
hard
with all
to
the
tell.
cuts, they blended those cuts together so well that it looked like this cat's about to go over a waterfall.
Yeah. And
I
this
felt
was in
bad
the
for laughing,
90s.
but I did laugh.
Like, it wasn't like they had all the same technology we do today. The other really cool scene was Shadow's pitfall scene. So when he stepped on the boards, they did break, but there was a platform right under them. And then they cut to where they dropped a fake dog into the pit. And then they cut to Shadow in a pit that they specially dug for this scene. And they got him to look like he was sliding by having one trainer out of the pit, like, come here, and the other one in the pit, like, no, sit. And so he would slide back down. But he could actually always get out of the pit during filming, and did on some occasions.
That's awesome.
And then other fake animals that they used, other than mechanical Sassy, were like a rubber fish that was puppeted to flop, a plastic crawfish, and a silk butterfly on fishing lines. So, and that's just some of them. And all of this was made possible by food, because that's what they used to motivate the actors. That's how they made Sassy look like she gave 2 shits about the dog, as they like put wet food on the dog's faces when they reunited so that she would nuzzle them. And that's how they made Sassy pull on the quill that got stuck in Chance's muzzle, which was, of course, just makeup. And then, which Paul pointed out, switched sides a couple times. There were some continuity errors.
Watching it last night, Melissa found a scene. It's right after they stay alone.
Blooper.
Yeah, right after they sleep in the forest for the first night and they hear all the coyotes. He wakes up, Chance wakes up, and Sassy's right next to him. And he like licks her or gives her a kiss. And in that scene, you can see a hand come down and push food on the stuffed animal.
Shut up. Really?
Wow. You can see him looking at the hand and not the cat, too.
Oh, yeah. He's trying to eat a treat right there.
Man, dude, if they remastered this film now, they would clean that up and pull it out and then like replace it with a handgun or something.
A walkie-talkie.
Was that all you had?
That's all I had for Movie Magic. That's the end of Movie Magic.
Movie Magic.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your contributions to this podcast. Let's move on to Melissa to do some fun shit.
All aboard for Audience Anecdotes. Welcome to Audience Anecdotes. In this segment, we have our animal review, which includes a rating scale for the animal actors, as well as our film review. After that, we have Surprise Scenario, where I present a wacky idea to the group for discussion. And lastly, a good old-fashioned game of Would You Adopt, Take to a No-Kill Shelter, or Taxidermy Our Furry Friends. So, okay, yeah, we're going to start this section off with the animal review, and I'm thinking the scale for this will be a rating, let's say we'll talk about the dogs first, and we'll do barks, so maybe like out of 5 barks. What would you give each of the dog actors in this movie for their performance, all of that. So what do you guys think? What are you thinking?
Shadow. Ruff, 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 ruff.
Okay, you don't. I wasn't expecting the barks, but I'm
You
loving
said
it.
how many barks? Wait, that was 6 though, I think. 1, 2,
Yeah, I
ruff, ruff,
think
ruff,
I counted
ruff.
6.
So let me try again. Shadow, ruff, 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 ruff.
Clearly, Chance. I mean, 5 out of 5 roofs. Shadow gets 4.
Chance gets roof, 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 and then Shadow gets roof, 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 roof.
Is that like 3.5?
I don't know how to do a half a roof.
Yeah,
No,
what's with the shadow haters?
Okay, if we have to rate these animals, for me, it's Chance, Sassy, then Shadow.
Agreed.
So
What?
roof,
Shadow
roof, roof,
held
roof.
the entire
Roof,
thing
roof,
together.
Roof, roof. Meow, 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 meow.
This could be like a rude thing to say, but golden retrievers, like a golden retriever doing a good job is not really that impressive.
Well, and because it's supposed to be a stoic dog, so it doesn't have like a huge range of emotion. It just has to look noble through and through.
Right. It's like a white person in upper management who like it's not that impressive, right? Like you
Yeah,
probably just like farted your way up there.
Me and my job. But I like with Chance, I feel like he had to bring, because he was the connection to the audience.
But you're also talking about the same Chance, right, that smashed a kid's head and ran into a tree?
Ran over a tree.
Ran over a tree. I mean...
Oh, do we want to watch him smash Jamie in the face really quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me pull this up.
Of course.
So for the listeners out there, we're watching a scene of the family getting out of their station wagon. And as Jamie's trying to get out, Chance is getting out at the same time. So right here.
He really did. Wow, look
He
at
just
him.
gave no fucks. He just smashed right into that kid.
Yeah, we're going to do that one more time. So he's just like... Oh, God damn it. That's amazing.
I like the caption of that video that Paul played of the outtake. It just says, in Homeward Bound 1993, watch this kid get his head smushed into the door by the dog. Ha 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 ha.
I had to write it.
It's pretty
They had a lot of
fantastic.
ha-ha-has.
Now, to be clear, I'm only talking about the performance of the animal. If it's, we'll get to the section later. But performance-wise, I feel like Chance was the one that had to do a broad range of emotions versus the other two had to just kind of be the animal that they were.
Okay, I can get behind that
I'll
part.
give it to you.
That's what I'm saying. Like Chance, he didn't even want to chase chickens. And they were like, well, let's make him look like he's chasing chickens.
Guess what Shadow's never doing? Chasing fucking chickens, dude. He's just sitting on the
'Cause he's
porch
not an
looking into the
idiot, Paul.
distance.
I guess for me, for the dogs, I would say... I don't know. It's so tough. I would say for me, they're both probably... I think they're both a 5. Because now the more that
5
I
what?
think about...
Yeah, 5 what?
Man, y'all gonna make me bark. I didn't say you had to bark.
We all bark, dude. We all bark.
Just
You
say
gotta
5
do-
bars.
That's too many barks to do, though. That's 10. Did you guys do 10 barks?
You could just say
No,
both get out.
because
Roof, roof, roof,
Shadow
roof,
was
roof.
only a...
Oh, because you guys are shadow haters.
So I did 9 barks.
Roof.
Because I didn't take the easy way out and say they were both 5s.
Ooh, well, I'm the animal reviewer here, okay? So, yeah, 5 barks, 5 stars. Perfect. So I guess we will then, like, what do you guys think of Sassy for the cat? Out of how many meow? Or out of 5 meows?
She gets double the amount.
That was a lot of meows.
I know.
I stopped counting.
Well, she got 5 out of 5 meows.
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow.
No, just 4.
Meow, meow.
4 out of 5.
Just 4 from Paul?
Rude.
Well,
What
if,
knocked her down? A meow.
if I'm giving an Academy Award to one of the animals, it's Chance. So
No, that's true.
We're not
That's
talking
true.
about the dogs. We're talking about Sassy right now. What do you think, Jordan? How many meows are you giving her?
Meow, meow, meow.
Only 3?
For the same reason that you guys talked about, she didn't really do as much. She just kind of sat around. She ate food off of, if it was like they taught her to do things like dance or walk around, then yeah, but this cat literally just
scene,
had it. I've seen Smart Cats.
I'm telling our cats you said that. Let's see what the audience had to say about Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey. These are reviews that I was able to find on RottenTomatoes.com. So somebody named John R. gave it a 3 out of 5. And he said, I don't remember seeing this when I was a kid, but my wife does, and she loves it. I can certainly see how this would have nostalgia appeal. It also definitely has yeet a mountain lion off of a cliff appeal, and I'm here for that.
Yeet a mountain lion.
The next review sadly does not have a name, but they gave half of a star out of 5. And their reasoning for that was they said, the weirdest teen sex comedy I've ever seen. Who brings a mountain lion? Did we watch the same movie or what was happening there? But I laughed at that review. All right, well. So do you think that these animals could pull off being the children's parents? Like, would
No.
do you really think Shadow, Chance, and Sassy could pull off being parents to each one of the
Shadow
kids?
could. Shadow
Why
could.
or why not?
Sassy would just keep ordering food for herself and does not give any to the kids.
No, Sassy cared about the kid. She talked about the girl and worrying about her.
She did, yeah.
But I don't think she's parent material.
I feel like Chance is fun uncle material, like the Funkle.
Okay, I don't think any of them would be good parents. And this is why. At the very beginning of the movie, the kid is telling Shadow, the smart one, about what they're doing. He's like, we got to go away for a little bit, Shadow, and you're going to be here by yourself, but you're going to be in good company. And the dog's just like, where are you going, buddy? And it doesn't understand him at all. If the dogs understood the people, this movie would be 5 minutes long, and they would have been like, oh, they're just going away for 2 weeks. We'll be fine, and not gone on this incredible journey.
Well, but how do they perceive time?
Having said that, if a dog can't understand a kid, how's it going to be its parent? Parents have to understand their kids, so.
Do they?
Now you're looking into it way too much, okay?
If they're animals being their parents, then I agree. I don't think they could pull it off because they're animals. But if we're saying that they are taking on the responsibility of a parent in some, I guess, what are you saying, Melissa? Are they? Is this a supernatural?
Can we get some
of
clarification on the question?
Jordan does actually
Doesn't
bring
matter.
up a good point.
No.
You guys are making this really difficult for me.
I don't think a dog can raise a kid.
Well, wolves could.
Okay, wait a second, though. You don't actually have to understand the kid, because if you just know, humans need to, eat and drink water and, have somewhere to go to the bathroom where they won't be eating their own poop. Yeah, they watch you. I feel like our animals would get that.
They've never fucking brought me a drink or food.
But they would if they were
the
Shadow.
cat
You ever
did.
asked
The
them
cat
to,
did that
Paul?
one time. The cat brought me a dead shrew.
Cat, and Pangea, man, she's brought me so many dollar bills. She earns her way. So.
Love animals, but hard no for me.
Very, very valid answers.
Thank you for the intriguing question.
That was a good one. That was good.
Like catching you guys off guard, so you're welcome. All right. Cool. So the next part we'll talk about is the adopt, take to the no-kill shelter, or taxidermy.
I would adopt Shadow. I would take Chance to the shelter, and I would taxidermy. Oh, I would taxidermy Shadow, adopt Sassy, and take Chance to the shelter.
I thought Chance was your favorite.
Well, I don't want him. He's my favorite, but I don't want that dog. I have a dog like that, and I don't want that dog. So
You don't want another one like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this may be because we're a married couple, but that was literally my answer. And it's because, it's a no-kill shelter, so I feel okay about it. I'm sure he'll get adopted. We are not at the right point in our life for a Chance. Love a Sassy. Shadow is great, but he's also the oldest, so I feel like you know.
And if you
he's
took
very
him
regal.
on, he would die right away or like
It'd be-
soon after.
No,
You
it would be
don't
just
know
enough to
that.
get super attached to him, and then he would die.
Well, but there's not as much buy-in. Like with Chance, he might be alive for like another 10 years, or like Sassy could be around for 50 years. Like we need to get the next animal in and out of our house quickly. So we need Shadow, who's gonna die, and then we just stuff him.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to stuff Sassy?
No, I was gonna adopt Sassy.
Stuffer. What are we talking? What?
What
You
did
mean
I say?
taxidermy?
I'm gonna have to listen to it. No,
Who's
taxidermy
stuffing
Shadow.
who?
He'd be like a taxidermy Shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's my thought. Because you would have to hold on to him long enough to be able to taxidermy him, right? Unless you're just
So you
killing
get a
him
little
and
bit of
taxidermy.
time with him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to kill him right away and then taxidermy him.
I like this better if I don't have to kill him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to kill him. That's up to you. That's your.
Ready to kill our dogs. This is
I
such a
was
good taxidermy.
not. I thought that was my only option.
Jordan, what are you thinking?
Okay, I would taxidermy Sassy because it's always nice to see a cat just like curled up sleeping somewhere. So I'd like to have just like a forever cat all curled up, just chilling. And I would adopt Shadow and give him a nice end of life. It's always nice to adopt older animals. I'd give poor
That's
old
true.
Chance to the no-kill shelter.
Wow, yeah, no, I'm pleasantly surprised, but also like I get it. I think we all pretty much have the same opinion on Chance. I would definitely take him to the no-kill shelter as well, just because I mean, I've already said it, I'm a cat person anyway, so and he just seems like he would be
It's too much, dude.
He's just too much. Part of me would want to adopt Shadow as well and give him like a good rest of his life, but like I also just really like cats, so I'm torn. But to have like a taxidermy dog, I feel like that would be weird. Like a big dog like that.
And take up a lot of fucking room too.
That's true.
Like you have to put him in the closet or something and just wheel him out when you need him.
Well, if he was in the right pose, like he could be like a hat hook.
I would hang him upside down or
that's-
something. Like we have high ceilings, so like
That's
he could
horrible.
no from his paws. Like you just
Oh my god! Wait, no. He could be like one of those, like a goose on your front porch.
And then you
Oh,
could put different outfits
put a
on.
hose
Yeah.
in him so that he could water your lawn.
That too, and you could dress him up like a goose.
You both just completely made me change my mind and you sealed the deal. I'm gonna adopt Sassy and I'm gonna taxidermy Shadow.
Yeah,
And he's gonna be
porch goose.
a
Yeah.
porch.
Do you guys want to
shadow
know
goose.
something? I really want a porch goose, but I'm afraid I'd look too much like a lame old lady. Like I'm too embarrassed to get a porch goose, but I really want a porch goose.
When is
You should get one.
Where is this coming from? You've never once mentioned you wanted a porch
Yeah, because
goose.
it's embarrassing.
All right, thank you, Melissa, for taking the time to give us all the fun games and enjoyment. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We're getting to the end of the show, so what to expect next on the next episode of Hoofin in Hollywood, we're going to do the movie Dunstan Checks In, portrayed by Sammy the orangutan. So get ready for a fun film. And if you like this podcast, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And you can also check out the show notes for all of our references. We referenced like 1,000 different sites, so check them out if you want to learn more. Thank you again, Jordan, Melissa, and Audrey. I look forward to seeing you in a month while we talk about Dunstan Checks In.
Dunstan
All
checks
right.
in.
Later. In and
Later.
out, bitch.
Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to Hoofin' It in Hollywood. This podcast has been produced by Paul, Audrey, Melissa, and Jordan. Please note that this content is intended for entertainment purposes only. We are not professional researchers, and the views and opinions expressed are our own. For more information and links to the resources mentioned in this episode, please check the show notes or visit our website at bit.ly/Hoofin-Hollywood. If you found this episode enjoyable and wish to support the podcast, we kindly ask you to like, subscribe, and leave a rating or review on your preferred podcast platform.